Hi guys, this is Angie with Beauties and the Bigfoot, and today is April 8th, 2026, and I wanted to give you guys 6 things that you can do when you are sharing your property with the Bigfoot people. Now there are many more things that fall under this category, but it just depends on your situation and the relationship you have with them. So the first thing you want to do when you discover that you are sharing property with the Bigfoot people is to stay calm. I know it can be a scary thing when you're first having these encounters and you're not sure what or who you're dealing with and how they're going to react. Chances are they're just as confused about you as you are about them. And that's why they watch so much of the time. They watch so they can gather information on who you are and how best to proceed with you, or to just leave you alone, or to get you out of there, because that is an option for them. Granted, that can be an option that is way down low on the list, maybe possibly at the bottom of the list, but it could be an option for them. So that's why a lot of times they watch, so they can gauge whether they want to interact with you or whether they just want to do their own thing and you do your own thing, and you guys never have any interactions whatsoever. But you have to stay calm. Don't run screaming. You have to remember they are an apex predator. So running, of course, they're going to give chase. It's not calmly. That's the thing. Remain calm. Whether you're walking away or whether you're standing still or you're in your house and you get a house bang, whatever it is, calmness is the way to react. Because the Bigfoot people, most of the time, you will see them be calm. They won't be, even in their agitation, there's a calmness to it. They never really lose it, so to say. Everything is structured and calm, no matter how primal the reaction is. And number 2 is act with respect. You don't want to go in there antagonizing them to begin with when you first realize that you are sharing a property with Bigfoot. Don't always treat them with respect. Even if the situation gets a little bit back and forth hostile, you can always show a level of respect in your response, and respect goes a long way with them. I'm trying to do both scenarios here and tell you guys whether you have, the general consensus of the population that are good and not harmful, or whether you have one that may be a little bit antagonistic. So I'm trying to give you both sides of the story so you'll get a general view of how to react in either scenario that you guys face. So respect is it's always good for everybody, whether that's interacting with the Bigfoot people, interacting with the animals of the forest, interacting with other humans. Respect is it just should be given. That should just be an automatic. And the third is, you want to, when you have a family that lives on your property, and yes, they live in family groups. Sometimes those groups are large, Sometimes those groups are smaller. It just depends on the individuals. Set boundaries early of what you are willing to accept and what is not acceptable to you. If you do not like the house bangs, then you have to tell them, please stop banging on my house. I don't like that. If you don't want them around your house at all, you have to set that boundary also. That includes putting out the motion lights anywhere that you really don't want them coming around. If you don't want them on your property, put the motion lights bordering your property, and make sure if you have any kind of brush or anything like that that's close to your house, you clear that out so you have a clear space from the wood line, and that pushes them back away from your house or your property. And some people say put a fence up. Well, we all know they can hop fences easily, just boop and they're over. But they do respect boundaries. Like I have said many times, I'm not fond of the house banging. I'm just not. So I have asked them to stop, and they have stopped. Now, granted, they have pounded on, the little one pounded on the garage, because it was not the house, it was the garage. So he's a smart little guy, and he worked his way around that. And then just recently, I think it was on April 4th, I was in that back bedroom, like I said before in my last video, and I was saying goodnight, and I got a bang on the semi from inside the wood line, which was great. That was an indirect response to me saying goodnight, you guys, be safe, have fun. Whatever it is that I said goodnight, and I immediately got a bang on that semi, so that was pretty cool. I'm okay with that. And sometimes you have to remember, they are social beings, so they will have visitors, and sometimes the visitors will make a mistake, and that mistake being a house bang. It's their way of saying we're here, and it's just fun to them, it seems like, to bang in the house. They just like it. I had the biggest bang of my life probably about a month ago on the north side of my house, which is the side where I have the TV set up, but it was a bang right in the living room side of the house where I was sitting. And it was so hard, and it startled me, so I'm like, hi. But that was one that was visiting and did not know that he was not allowed to bang in the house, because those visitors don't always stay with your Bigfoot people family. They're wander around whatever property it is on their own. And he apparently did not realize that house banging wasn't the best choice to make. But it was once, and it didn't happen again. So I think he was regulated. And whatever boundaries that you want to set that you're comfortable, even if that boundary is, you leave me alone, I'll leave you alone, I don't want to know you're here, just ignore me like I'm not here. Whatever your boundary is, set it early so that they can understand it and all you have to do to set that boundary is literally say it out loud. Sometimes even think it, but I've learned to, just say things out loud and know that they'll get it, because they have shown me time and time again that when I talk out loud, they understand. So that's one of their mysteries. And then number 4 is communicate. Communicate with them so that if you would like to establish a relationship with them, what do relationships need to grow and thrive? They need communication. So even if you're not getting words directly back, Even if you're not getting mind speak and you're just getting the whoops, or even if you're not getting anything at all, make sure that you communicate. Whatever that is. I always say good morning, and now I've always started saying good night. Of course, I'm very good at the mind speak and picking that up, so I communicate a lot that way. And sometimes I get the mind speak and I don't mind speak back, I talk out loud back. But whenever that mind speak comes in, I always acknowledge it. Whenever they leave me any ground sign, I always acknowledge it. Whenever they leave me any kind of tree structure or new thing or a gift that they leave on my patio, or for instance, I had a little skull that was gifted to me, and I had put the little skull out in a basket, which was also gifted to me, with a lead pipe. And then eventually I found a deer horn that was shed back where I go feed the birds. So I kept those all out in between my house and my garage, right beside the walkway, on the north side of the walkway, in the basket when I enter the garage. Well, after a few days, the little skull disappeared. So I was like, okay, well, go ahead and have it. And the skull was like maybe this big. It was maybe a raccoon or a possum, or I'm not sure. It had pointy teeth. I can't tell what kind of skull, but if you go back through my community posts, you'll see a picture of the skull on there, and that'll give you a better idea of what it was. So I was just like, well, you know, I know they're hoarders. This particular family, my particular family that lives around me, they're hoarders. They like to, you know, they like to find stuff. So then, must have been last week or the week before, I noticed that the deer antler was taken out of the basket, and that was gone also. So I said, oh, okay, my deer antler's gone too. Okay, well, go ahead, you can have it. Go ahead and take it. So, I mean, what could I do? They'd already taken it. So I was just letting them know, okay, it's okay. I'm not mad that you took this antler or this animal head, you know, animal skull with the teeth intact out of the basket. Go ahead, you can have it. So I communicated that, and I communicated that out loud. There's many times that it's a daily occurrence communicating, like when between 9 and 10 o'clock at night I get something thrown at the south side of my house. I always say hello, thank you, or whatever, or I'll give them a yeep yeep, or whatever it is, just to let them know that they acknowledge me, I acknowledge them, and it's a communication. So that's really important, because any kind of relationship you have, it thrives on communication and it dies on silence. So that's a big thing to remember with these guys. And then number 5 is continue your life. Continue living your daily life and doing your daily routine. And they live structured lives, so they like routine, and they want to see what kind of routine you have so that they can adjust to it, especially if you have moved into a property that's been vacant for a while, that they've gotten used to the silence and the stillness and nobody being around, and now they have to adjust to somebody being here. They're going to want to, you know, they're going to have to adjust to your routine to be able to cohabitate in the same property that you have, or around the same property that you have even. I know they've adapted to my routines. I still go in the woods. I don't do that. Well, I guess I do that routinely, but it's not the same time all the time. But I go to work, and then they know that I go up to my summer house in the summer on the weekends. They know that I'm outside more. They know that when I turn those lights on in the wintertime and it's dark out and it's snowed, that I'm doing outside work. And honestly, they love it when I'm out there in the dark with them. They have mine spoke over and over and over again. We love when you come out in the dark, because I'm usually out in the light and they're thriving in the dark. So they like when my life and their life can be brought together on like their terms, where they don't have to hide and they can, do their daily whatever they do at night. And mine around me seem to be very active at night. I hear a lot of whoops and a lot of language, tree knocks, my name has been called. And that seems to be their time because it's quiet, it's dark, and they can move around unencumbered. So just continue with your routine and you guys will adjust. I know they had set a boundary for me not to come in the woods between 5 and 6 o'clock. I wasn't told whether that was their dinner time. I'm assuming it's their dinner time. Maybe it's their hunting time. I'm not exactly sure, but I respect that, and I don't go into the woods between 5 and 6 o'clock p.m. So I make sure that I respect that boundary that they've set, because they're respecting the boundaries that I've set, and that's part of the relationship that we have. So it wasn't really a routine for me to go back there between 5 and 6, but sometimes I would like to, and I was told no. And the other thing is, sometimes I would like to go back into the woods and I'll be told straight up, no, don't come back here. And it will be at other times between 5 and 6. So I've learned to listen to that and not go back there, because I don't know what I'm walking in on, whether they have company that does not like humans, whether there is a bobcat back there or something dangerous to me, or they just don't want to be bothered. It's one of those things. So I've just learned to, okay, and respect it. In the beginning I was like, oh, I want to go in the woods, but now I've learned it's probably for my own good. So I respect that, and I just don't go back there. And then 6 is enjoy your interactions with them. If you have them sharing property with you and you're having interactions with them, that's a pretty cool thing, and that's a big thing. And I have found that the Bigfoot people are amazing. Yes, we have to remember they are a wild people. They don't run by our society rules. Okay, what's normal for them would be horrifying for us. Just horrifying, especially in the way that they might discipline their children. We would call that abuse. To them, that's their natural way, because they are a wild people, and we have to remember that. When I think sometimes people expect them to take on human emotions. Are they human-like? Yes. Do they have emotions like us? Yes, but they run a different compass than we do. What we think is right or wrong, they may have a different view on that. That might be just what they naturally do and how they have to do in order to survive, living the life that they live, wild, out in the forest, out in nature. So they are loving, they are kind, they are smart, they think. I cannot stress this amount enough. They think. They have a thought process. And this has been shown to me over and over and over again. And they like reveal more and more and more of themselves as your relationship grows and it builds. It's been 4 years and I haven't even probably scratched the surface of who these Bigfoot people are and what they're even capable of. And I've been shown, I feel like maybe a fourth of who they are. And sometimes when I ask questions, they just won't answer. I just won't get an answer because it's not something that they're ready to share with me yet. So, but you learn about them by interacting with them, and that is the greatest teacher that you're going to find, is having these interactions with them, because no matter how much you read about people's interactions, you're never going to fully understand it until you actually have one. And you're not going to know how you're going to react until you actually have an interaction with them. You can, I think I will react this way, but when it actually happens, you might react a totally different way. So we can read and learn and study about these people, but one interaction with them can blow everything that you thought you knew out of the water. And you'll just be starting from scratch, saying, okay, I gotta forget everything I just heard and just do with what I am experiencing now and do the best that I can. So, they're joyful, they're happy most of the time. I've only had, in the past 4 years, a couple grumpy interactions with them. I've heard the male laugh out loud like I'm talking to you, and he was about 10 feet away from me, and I never saw him. Never saw him, but heard him laugh. So, and it was because of something I did. I said, yeep, yeep, when I got out of my car, and that's not a normal thing for me to do. So apparently they were right there in the area, and I startled probably the little one, or I might have startled the big one, Jabi. I'm not sure which one I startled, but Jabi is the one that laughed because I recognized his laugh, because his voice sounded like the mind speak that I receive. So that's how I was able to correlate the two. So it's just interesting, and the interactions bring you awareness of yourself, and they bring you awareness of your surroundings. And that's how a lot of people that don't have these interactions don't realize how important the groundspeak or the structures that they make are. They're all part of their language. It's all part of their language. Yes, trees fall down. Yes, Mother Nature does her thing. Yes, humans do their thing. But there are specific things that they do, and they know what to look for. And the more that you interact with them and know them, you will know what to look for. So, and it's funny how they add stuff to the human structures to make it their own. It's almost like and I'm not comparing them to a dog, but it's almost like a dog marking their territory. You know what I'm saying? They want to add their little touch to something because we're basically in their house. So I hope that helped you guys. And there's many, many more things that you can do to help your interactions and learn to live with them in a peaceful way. But those are just 6 of them. So I hope you guys have a great Wednesday, and we will talk to you soon.